Well, good evening and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news. We're broadcasting live and then available on demand. And we're available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple Television, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, and of course YouTube and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. It's Wednesday, January 25th, 2023, and we're live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson, and this evening we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community from South Florida, America, and across our planet.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ plus news, you will see it and hear it.
Happening Out Television Network is a 501c3 nonprofit media platform in the television and radio models of PBS and NPR, but designed for our LGBTQ plus community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
Our magazine is celebrating 38 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
Let's begin tonight by welcoming anchor FayWhat. She's a radio and television personality. You know that strained my voice when I do that. She's a radio. I'm sorry?
It's supposed to tickle, not strain.
Oh, yeah. I don't like the tickle. All right. She's a radio and television personality and has a popular blog and YouTube channel aiming to unite the L and the G together. She's a hostess and an MC for many South Florida events, an animal advocate, and owner of Faye's Fur Family. Check them out. Also, make sure to catch the FayWhat Show, the first LGBTQ plus morning show, Mondays at 9 a.m. Eastern, and fortunately for all the rest of us, online on your smart television. And by the way, of course, you know Faye was the winner of the 2022 SFGN Best Local Television Personality. Welcome, FayWhat.
Hi, everyone. Hello, boys and Cindy. You know, I'm mad that I won that award so late in the year in 2022, right? Because now every time you say it, I'm like, that happened last year. You know, it was only 2 months ago.
You know, I agree completely. Strike that from her
No,
introduction.
you gotta spend time. No, at least for one more month. I'm happy to be back. I was away for a week and I missed you all. I just got a little retouch. No, I didn't. I wish I did.
You don't need it.
Not needed.
Thank you, Mama. All right, let's welcome my brother from another mother. His name is John Hayden. He's a journalist for 28 years. He now works for several outlets, including South Florida Gay News, as a reporter and community editor, covering politics, entertainment, and local events directly impacting the LGBTQ plus community. John's interviewed everyone from presidents to Oscar winners and been on more red carpets than he can count. And speaking of the Oscars, he's shocked, clutching his pearls, that Bros was snubbed. Really? That surprised?
Oh,
Really?
I'm not. Really?
I can't believe I got up at 8 o'clock in the morning for that. Oh my God.
It was worth it though, because did you watch Jamie Lee Curtis?
Aw.
Did you see the picture?
Yes.
Her best friend knocks on the door, or no, is outside of her house and calls her and wakes her up and says, "I'm standing outside. You want some support?" And what are you
Wow.
talking about? Oh, well, in 15 minutes, the Oscar nominations are going to come out. And local time in California was like 4:15.
Oh,
my God.
And
Yeah.
she went to the door in her jammies
Oh, that's
and sitting
great.
in front of the television. And her best friend catches the picture of the television screen when Jamie Lee Curtis's
No.
nomination comes up and her reaction to it. Make sure you see the next
Yay.
And it's the first time she's been nominated
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah.
Oh my
I've had a crush on her
God!
for
And,
decades.
see, this is how you steal the thunder away from John Hayden, by the way. And she's nominated in the exact same category as her mother.
mother.
Isn't
Oh,
that
that's
awesome?
awesome.
At the same age.
Anyway,
Yeah.
at the exact
Wow.
same
Wow.
age. Yes,
Same
exactly.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and she
Were we talking about John Hayden?
Well,
Yeah, but I think we were. I
I'm
was
just
like,
saying,
how did-
Jamie Lee Curtis is one of the sweetest people I've ever met. and
my God.
Thunder,
You set it up.
Thunder is back.
Oh my God.
Okay.
You know, and also I do work for South Florida Gay News, which it rightly honored Faye. But
you.
also tomorrow at Hunters, our publisher, our founder, Norm Kent, is going to be honored there by the Wilton Manors Business Association. It's an honor well deserved for his lifetime achievements in law, media, and making an impact primarily, of course, in
We're
Wilton
all
Manors.
going.
Yes.
Yes.
That
Yes.
moment.
We'll all be there.
And I
Yeah.
might be letting a little canary out of the coal mine, but a little bird has told me that the institutional nature of Norm Kent may be coming for a special broadcast anchoring at Queer.
Wow.
Oh my God, that would be so cool.
It's like, oh, that's fabulous.
Did you do that?
Are you sure you didn't hear that Norm's going to be institutionalized?
That might have
That
been
could
it.
have been it. Maybe I did hear that.
In the room next to you. Right, John?
next to mine. I love you, Norman. Congratulations. We'll see you tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Now, Cindy Brown is giving me the stink eye, so it means we need to move on to welcome her. She is an icon in the LGBTQ plus community. She was an early organizer of the Miami AIDS Walk, the White Party for Care Resource, and other major events. She has served as executive director of Miami-Dade Gay and Lesbian Chamber Foundation and LGBTQ Visitor Center. She is the founding executive director of Miami Beach Pride and currently serves as the program manager for Jewish Community Services LGBTQ Lambda Living Program for LGBT seniors. Good evening, Cindy. It's good to see you again.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, it seems like I haven't been here for a while either, and I'm glad to be back at the table.
How's your hand? You still wearing that cast?
Yeah, I'm still wearing my cast. Hopefully it comes off tomorrow.
Girl, sex with you would be dangerous with that. Oh my God.
How do you think she?
Yeah, you should see the other guy. Well, now let's welcome anchor Dino Mosquera. He joined the Miami Gay and Lesbian Film Festival in the late 90s and now serves on the Outshine Film Festival's board of directors. He's now the screening committee chairman selecting films for one of America's most important LGBTQ plus film festivals. Welcome, Dino.
Thank you, Cindy. Good to see you again. So we are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the Queer News Tonight for today, Wednesday, January 25th, 2023.
Well, let's begin by queering up South Florida and Florida. New report shows that more than half of LGBTQ plus Florida parents say they are considering leaving the state. More than half of LGBTQ plus parents in Florida are considering moving their families to another state over concerns that a new Florida education law, known of course by its critics as the Don't Say Gay law, stigmatizes LGBTQ plus identities and creates a hostile learning environment for LGBTQ plus children or students with LGBTQ plus family members. In the report that was issued by Williams Institute at UCLA, a public policy research institute that is based at the UCLA College of Law and the Clark University in Massachusetts, 56% of LGBTQ plus parents surveyed said they were considering leaving Florida over their concerns about how the new law may impact their children and family. Another 17% said they had already taken steps to do so. The new law, officially titled the Parental Rights in Education Law, bars public education or public kindergarten through third grade teachers in public education from engaging in classroom instruction related to sexual orientation and gender identity. Subjects the measure's proponents in the state legislature last year argued are inappropriate for young students. This study is shocking, but completely understandable. The most important number, in my opinion, in the Williams Institute, and by the way, if you're not as an LGBT advocate following with the Williams Institute at UCLA College of Law, they are among the best academic researchers in America for LGBT issues, is that 17% of LGBT families in Florida are already working on actual plans to leave.
Yeah.
That's significant. 56% said they're thinking about it. 17% are already active in those plans. The other thing that I think is very distressing on the Williams report is Governor DeSantis could, if he was hearing our story tonight, and he's an avid fan.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Yes, I heard.
I bet. Yeah.
He watches
Avid
every
fan.
night.
Every night he watches on Roku or Apple television. The sad thing in the issue is if he was watching this report, he would go, yeah, so?
Yeah.
Right.
Just as flat
Yeah.
as that.
Yeah.
He absolutely would have
Doesn't care
no
less.
concern at all, because the goal here and the goal on drag queens and the goal on woke, stop woke, and all of these related goals are first to get him elected president of the United States by creating a culture war. And as a result, he has made his plans. He set his plans in cement, which is, I think this is the best way to do it. And so therefore, I'm going to push you back into the closet. Now, you might be able to live in the closet, but we don't want to acknowledge or know that you're living in the closet.
Yeah.
And as a result, the 17% number, the 56% number, Governor Ron DeSantis very likely would say, yeah, so?
Yeah, there's lots of feelings of like Handmaid's Tale coming from Tallahassee. And I think of all politicians right now, Ron DeSantis is the most dangerous because...
And Donald Trump lives 38 miles from
right,
us.
exactly.
And you say
Yeah,
that,
but
yeah.
no, seriously, because, you know, he is as far right, maybe even farther right than Trump.
Oh, yeah.
And
But
he's smarter than Trump.
and he's
Say it. He's smarter than I hate
Trump.
to say that, but it's the
I know,
truth.
and
That Harvard
exactly.
education will come in handy when he's trying to squish our faces into the
He went to
unknown.
Harvard?
He did.
Yeah, and, you know, he
Harvard
can...
Community College. By the way, I don't know if y'all heard.
Harvard Tech.
It's,
in-
yeah,
He
it's
can
in
string a
Montana.
whole paragraph together, you know, and
Look, when I read about the
Scary.
study, I wasn't surprised. I'm not a parent, right? But you know, Teresa's always joking about how we're going to probably have to move to Spain and work from there because things are getting so bad, right? And I'm glad that her kids are in their 20s, so it's not a thing. But I have a niece who's 14 years old that I was just with in Jersey, and I'm like, thank God you guys don't live down here, Like, I mean, here's the reality: a LGBTQ plus kid cannot get a good education while he's being bullied and being made fun of and being a target in a school. He just can't. So if the parent sees that, they're going to want to get the kid a good education and leave this freaking state.
Right.
We're overpopulated anyway. Leave.
right.
Yeah, I would encourage the families that are thinking about moving, please reconsider and please stay. Yeah. We fought too long and too hard. We've essentially had one generation. We've had one generation. Okay, let me finish then. But we've had one generation essentially of students that kind of grew up where it wasn't a thing, and now we're being pushed back in. Florida went as red as it's going to get in this last election, which means, yay, it's only going to get better. But we also have to look, and families of trans kids, I can understand leaving because they're being barred medical access. Yep. And I say, yes, go somewhere where you can get the affirming care that you need until you're 18 or 21 or whatever they do. But please stay. We have to keep fighting, because if we just abandon this beautiful place that we have, this beautiful community that we've created, then they really do win, and that makes my skin crawl.
And on top of that is also keep voting, because if you leave the state, you're not going to vote.
We lose your vote too.
We lose you. I mean, more importantly, you got to vote here if you want things to change. I will understand, just being on the other side, if you were the parent of an LGBT child, and how bad it is, growing up gay and being bullied, that your child will go through the same thing. So you will probably think that way. But yeah, you're right. I mean, if you don't stay and you don't vote, people like him keep getting reelected.
Yeah,
so.
well, like I said, I wanted to push back on this because children are only children once. And, the scars that children receive that last the longest are the ones when they are young. Mm-hmm. So if you're the child of gay parents, those scars are going to forever affect you. And I would not want to raise a child in an environment that's like that. So I do understand why those parents want to go to a place where they don't have to complain to the principal that their child came home after getting beat up again and nobody's doing anything about it. Or, they're shut down when they ask questions. I wouldn't want to have to fight that for my child. I would want my child to be able to
the
be in a secure
conversation
place.
is a good one. I didn't really think about this story in this way in terms of whether you succumb to the bullying and the hate. This is hate. We're watching hate.
Absolutely.
I'm torn on this because you really make an appeal that makes me think about if I had a child. Oh, thank God I don't. If I did, would I raise this child in Florida? And I have to tend to agree. I probably would conclude I would not.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think about John's point because at the worst of this, Dr. Julio Capo has helped us all understand this repeats. It goes in cycles. We've seen this in Florida, and he's given us historical examples of that. And of course, the most clear is Anita Bryant. Yeah. And Anita Bryant was doing this not to the power of this, but this is what Anita Bryant's intent was. And it wasn't until we pushed the pie in the face that we bring her to a stop. But then I think about, I've talked about the Anthony Fauci interview. He talks so much about Larry Kramer, and my interview with Fauci and talking about Larry Kramer has radicalized me. I know that there's this radical intent beginning to bubble up in that ACT UP was really important at the time it was going on because there was no choice. No one was paying attention to AIDS. No one was paying attention to the gay community. So many people were dying left and right, and it was a clinical approach of get back into the closet. And ACT UP was so vitally important, and that's the controversy here. Do we fight or do we move? There's good arguments on both sides. Good arguments.
Well, we move on and queer up South Florida gay news. What is Pride Fort Lauderdale hiding? There are a lot of questions around Pride Fort Lauderdale, the group that's producing Pride of the Americas next month. Why are top-level people fleeing the organization right before the big event? How is money from sponsors and events being spent? Who is in charge? Those questions have been asked, but answers have not been forthcoming. And that brings me back to my first question. What is Pride Fort Lauderdale hiding? In this week's SFGN, online now and on stands tomorrow, I look at how Pride is stonewalling the community. As a 501c3 nonprofit, they are required to make some of their records public. As a group that's constantly seeking support from the community, they should be willing to show records that aren't required. SFGN has requested the minutes of their board meetings for the past year. Silence. Pride's own bylaws require the minutes be posted and accessible, yet I could not find them on their website or any other public records site. 4 people in leadership have announced their resignation since mid-December. No comments. Someone sent me a copy of a budget, but it was really just broad strokes, like $305,000 for the main stage. But who's getting the contracts? Was there a bidding process? And who gets the $136,000 allocated for logistics? We do know that Pride's been having trouble since 2021 when they began giving refunds. Visit Lauderdale, Broward County's tourism arm, has supported Pride of the Americas since its inception around 2019. After pandemic forced years of delays, they saw the writing on the wall and have been refunded half of their original investment of about $150,000. Instead of a 3-day beach party, it's a 1-day event at a smaller park. Pride is glomming on to independent parties in Wilton Manors on Friday, thanks to Alibi, Hunter's Nightclub, and the Wilton Manors Business Association. Sunday's pool party is at a patio behind a bar on A1A. SFGN has made multiple public records requests and will continue to push all parties for answers that the community deserves to have. And until we have those answers, we will continue to ask, what is Pride hiding? Now, I'm not the type of journalist that likes to put people on blast. I like to talk to them, coax people, try and get information, not say, oh, you didn't talk to me, so I'm going to splash you on the headline. But I've been going back and forth with Pride Fort Lauderdale for weeks, bordering on months now. And I remember President Mike Martorell, I was going back through some of our Facebook Messenger exchanges today, and he said, we are an open organization. something to that effect. But they are not being. They are stonewalling us at every turn. And we're asking very simple questions. And like I said, I read their bylaws, and they appear to be out of sync with even those. There is so much going on here, and this is what I feel comfortable reporting and the questions that we are asking.
And who are you talking to over there? Aside, you're talking to Mike.
I've been trying to talk to Mike, and he has acknowledged my existence, but has not come forth with any answers. He asked me to email him some questions. I did start with the public records request, other things regarding resignations and things like that. And I've got all the receipts to prove it. Everything here are just genuinely legit questions that we need to have answers, because when you've got this much chaos before what was originally supposed to be a world-class event attracting half the world, and now it's reduced to this, and you've got people fleeing, 3 board members and the executive director. The executive director is staying on until the event is done, but he is also leaving. There's just so much going on, and no one was talking about me. And honestly, it seems like Mike is the only person who really, as the president, that is left to talk.
Is there any, okay, so I don't know anything about 501c3 organizations.
Sure.
I know that we are one, right? But
yes.
So is it against the law to not have the minutes for the public to see? Is that something that there's
Yes.
a time frame that needs to be had?
Yes.
And they're far beyond that.
Yes. And I don't know the intricacies of tax law and all that, but their bylaws require them to at least post the minutes. They don't video their board meetings, but they are required to post minutes, and I cannot find them. And of course, my team at SFGN has also done a check, because obviously it's good to have multiple layers when you're doing this kind of an investigation.
John, I'm curious, South Florida Gay News, and then you jump back in. South Florida Gay News has been on top of the story about Pride of America for months and months. Clearly in SFGN's expose on Pride of America, you're getting contacts of people that are communicating with you because they're revealing information and documentation. What is going on there? What's the current in terms of how you're being communicated to? People
inside the organization who feel that this needs to be brought to light, and people who are outside the organization. They're, obviously they work with a lot of different venues and agencies to bring something like this together. They've been sharing their frustrations with me. This started out as we're 90 days or 90 days or so away from Pride, and we don't have a site map. We haven't got any of the basics laid out, stuff that should have been done last June. And so it really started out with frustration, and the more you pull at the threads, the more that just keeps coming out. And obviously I'm not going to say who I'm talking with, because, I will protect my sources, but they are reliable. They have sent me documents that we have been able to verify. Minutes going back to May of 2021, when they started talking about refunding $150,000 to visit Lauderdale, all the way up to when they had to move the venue in late December. So people inside and near it are talking, and my sources are very truthful, are very reliable.
But Boy George will be there, right? Boy George will be there. That's all I want to know.
The check has been cashed and cleared. He will be there.
I heard that the VIP event on Friday had sold out, but that's about it. That's the only thing I heard.
Hearing this story, brings me back a few years ago.
You were the founding president of Miami Beach Pride.
I was, yes, thank you.
Founding means was.
Yes. But there was also a little event that was supposed to happen in South Florida, an international event called the Out Games.
Yeah, okay.
I was, in the early days, I was on the board. I actually went to Belgium to make the presentation when we were given the bid. And I left the board about a year before the event because I didn't know what was going on. And there was no communication until athletes showed up from all around the world to find that their events were, Dino was one of the athletes, although he didn't fly in from around the world. But,
Dino was a swimmer.
Yeah, and there are a number of gay-led organizations that have fallen into this same thing. And, I wonder what it is. I mean, once I couldn't get answers, I left the board.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, with your background, you cannot
I
associate
did
with
not
something
want
like
that,
that.
of
So,
course. So if I don't know what's going on.
No,
then I don't
I
know.
was present during that time, and the repercussions for Miami Beach that brought
Were-
because I was involved with my swimming team, the Nadadores. We were organizing the swimming competition.
the what? The Matadors?
Matadors.
Nadadores.
Oh, the Matadors, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I
so
love that.
we organized the swimming, water polo, the diving,
And those events actually happen.
They happened because we took
they
over
organized
ownership of that.
Yeah.
But we were facing
And this
athletes
is the same thing, you know, an international event that who knows? And it's, you know, I don't know how more accountability can't, there.
Well,
But
but
it takes a lot to put this on,
Yes,
and I'm not going to put
absolutely.
down anybody's effort. I'm just saying,
But be transparent
be
about
transparent
it. If you
about
need
it.
help, come to the community well in advance of collapsing.
Well, that's the thing. They have been coming to the community. We've been going to fundraisers for them for years, ever since pandemic rules started relaxing, and we've been supporting this along the way. So what they need to make transparent what they're legally required to do, and they really should be doing more than that, and they should be answering our questions.
The
But
bottom line, though, is you can do a great event, but you can only do the event that you can afford to pay for.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. And so many people want all the bells and whistles and the top of the line.
And I just want to, I was at Wilton Manors City Commission last night, just covering that. Wilton Manors is my beat. But they were doing some budget allocations, and one of the things was to allocate money for Wilton Manors floats. They want to every few years, the events, the stuff gets old. It gets worn down. So they were allocating money for that. And they were like, originally it was going to be for Pride of the Americas, but it was reallocated for the Stonewall Parade. And so I went up to City Manager Leanne Henderson afterwards. I was like, how come Wilton won't be there at Pride of the Americas? And she said, well, because of the amount of time that they're allowed to close down A1A, they don't have enough room for everyone to have a float. So Wilton Manors is going to walk the parade, but they're not going to have a float. And that just raised yet another red flag, because
This is
the
an
city that is the
international
gay,
event.
and the city that's the gayest
Right.
place on earth is not going to have a float. And this is in no way shade at Wilton Manors. This is just what they've been told by Pride that they're able to do. So basically it's going to be just a group of people walking, or quickly power walking, because the parade can only be shut down for however long. Just another red flag in a sea of red flags.
Right.
Well, I know South Florida Gay News is going to stay on top of this story. It's been in SFGN for many editions. I think the overriding thing here is Pride of the Americas must succeed. There's no question.
Right.
We're sitting here in the last days of January, and this event is February 10th.
2 weeks away. 2 weeks away.
And it's coming up. It must succeed. We want to showcase community. We want to showcase our community as a destination. It has to showcase LGBTQ community. We've got to rally. And if there are things that we can do, these voices have to start to speak up and say, please, we need this, or we need this, or we need this. And I think that that's the point of your story in terms of the transparency.
Right.
And I have confidence that they're going to get
Oh,
it
they're
together.
going to get it together.
They're going to get it together.
We're going to have a pride.
We're and we're going to have a good time. But if SFGN,
Are you having a stroke? Because I have to call somebody quick.
right? If
Just say John. Just say John.
SFGN, John Hayden, Norm Kent, Jason, whoever it might be, if you're getting an email or a text, you probably should answer it. It will be better for all of our organizations if that's the case. Transparency is always a winning choice.
Yeah. Am I the only one thinking about Dino in a swim cap? 'Cause I'm thinking about that personally. All right, let's move on by queering up gay culture. Here's everything you need to know about White Party Palm Springs. Yumminess. Are you and your crew ready for White Party? Taking place May 12th through the 14th, 2023 in Palm Springs. The iconic Desert Festival is upping its game this year with a jam-packed weekend of live performances by top-tier talent, pool parties, legendary ballroom battles, drag shows, and many opportunities to strut your stuff on the dance floor. The party starts off with the Soaked Pool Party at the Hilton Palm Springs, a party that runs in the afternoon of all 3 days and features DJs Jeremy Dava, Marty Friesen, Liza Rodriguez, Jace M, who will be appearing on the FayWhat show soon, so make sure that you look out for that, and Nick Straysener. Sorry if I said your name wrong, Nick, but you're a cutie. The party will also feature a fashion show by Garçon. Friday night will be a drag and ball scene themed dance party called Fluidity, featuring our favorite DJ Dan Slater. Oh, have you seen his abs?
Oh, I
Dios
have.
mío, qué lindo. As well as DJ Tom Stefan. You're probably cute too, Tom. Saturday night is the Whiteout Party with a snow theme and DJ Shane Marcus, Moore Abrahami, and GSP. Sunday takes the party into outer space with the famous White Party Tea Dance. This year being themed Orbit. Dance to DJs Donna Montel, Manny Lemon, and Tony Moran before blasting off with an amazing fireworks show. After the fireworks, we leave the world behind with the Escape Party featuring DJs Phil Romano and Mickey Friedman. It's a world-famous party weekend you won't want to miss, and tickets are available at whitepartyglobal.com. You excited for White Party? And they're back and it's Palm Springs, and there's nothing yummier than a sea of just white underwear, because that's all you'll see at the White Party there.
Excuse me, are you a gay man?
I really am.
Yeah.
I've been there many times for White Party. I miss it, actually. It's been a while. My first Lady Gaga concert was Lady Gaga at Palm Springs.
Oh, wow.
Gay
Coño.
White Party. And Mary J. Blige, I saw there.
Janet Jackson's
Kelly, Jennifer Lopez was there.
Wow.
Yeah,
Got all the
This is a gay
A-list.
royalty
Wow.
event, for sure.
And they dealt with a lot of crap because of COVID, right?
Right, and in fact, the owner, the founder, owner of the White Party died last year. We reported on it extensively at Queer News Tonight. He fell under pressure because he was so prominent in Puerto Vallarta and had the Puerto Vallarta party during COVID. And Puerto Vallarta said, no, and he went right across the state line and held it right, drivable, very close drivable to Puerto Vallarta, but across the state line to trick the rules and made international headlines and
It was not
backlash
Yeah,
against
backlash,
him. And White Party Palm Springs is a legendary event. For those here in Florida, for example, that might not know, this is Gay Days and OMW combined. This is Winter Party and the old White Party Vizcaya combined. This is a gigantic event in Palm Springs. And it's the time where Palm Springs will smash into my face how we are the gayest place on planet Earth. And that weekend, they have a very good argument for it, I might say. I'm thrilled about it because, first, I'm really going to try to go to White Party. In fact, I might have a date for a White Party. And I've never been.
You should take me,
I have-
not her.
I pull more boys than you do, Dino. Let's be real.
There it is. John, conversation over. And the other thing that I think is really fabulous about this year, we're out of pandemic. We're not talking about pandemic anymore. But after his death, everyone thought, that's it. It's over. Yeah. I'm thrilled that they got back up on their feet and said, no, we're Palm Springs. This is a great event. It's fun. People from all over the world come, and we're going to keep the tradition. And the greatest memorial that they can do for him is to make
keep
sure
it going.
Yes.
The legacy.
His legacy.
Right.
Yes.
Who took it over? Is that Chichi LaRue?
No.
Chichi LaRue is always there. She's always there.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean-
because she's doing porn films.
No, actually, she's a
I know,
DJ too. So, right. So.
We love Gigi.
Yeah.
But we're thrilled. Palm Springs, White Party, here we come.
Oh. Well, now let's queer up lesbian culture.
Hey.
Lesbian shop owners leave Florida town after officials' anti-gay comments. Here we go, Florida again. A lesbian couple in Florida said that they are closing their small antique shop because of the treatment they received from one town official with a history of anti-gay comments. Joy Droughty told the local Independent Alligator the response from locals was positive after she and her wife opened the Restless Mama's boutique store in the small town of Micanopy last summer. The town of fewer than 700 sits not far from Gainesville in the Florida Panhandle and prides itself as the self-proclaimed antique capital. The first sign something was amiss was when the couple received a letter from the town stating the pride flag flown outside their shop violated local ordinance. Droughty said they complied with the request to remove the flag, even though other stores flew flags that violated the same ordinances. Droughty said things took a decided turn for the worst when she heard from multiple secondhand sources that Micanopy Commissioner Mike Roberts, who has a horrible haircut, had reportedly made derogatory comments about the couple's sexual orientation. She said she heard of the alleged comments from about 30 townspeople. Well, you know, here we go again. Florida elected officials just don't know what they're talking about. And I was like, well, why are you moving out of that town? Until I learned that their main store is in Gainesville. So they just moved the inventory to Gainesville where they have a lot more support. Yeah. But, you know, why did they even have to say anything about it? You know, it's just ridiculous.
They were basically bullied out.
They were.
It's not like she was able to go, okay, let's move. I mean, she was slowly bullied out of there, you know, and that's sad. One of the ladies' her name is the lady that you mentioned, Joy.
Joy.
Her name is Joy. There's no way you could find joy when someone is persecuting you like that everywhere you go in a small town. I mean, 30 people told her about the tea. Yeah, you know, that was being said about her.
In the town.
Of the 700 people. Think about it. So Joy, grab your woman, grab your old stuff, and get the hell out of there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was an antique store, and if the Panhandle is anything, it's old. But
right. Well, you know, I think the deal is Micanopy is like supposedly the antiques capital. You know.
Yeah. I was going to say, just in terms of context, I'm disappointed that they did this because the girls should have fought. Yeah. They should have showed up at a city commission meeting or whatever it is. Micanopy is home of The Yearling. You remember that book? Very famous.
Oh, wow.
Pulitzer Prize. It's based in Micanopy. And Michael J. Fox, that movie that he did where he got off the interstate in Florida and all of the filming, I can't remember the name of the movie, was filmed in Micanopy. Micanopy is Blue Island in Florida. It's Alachua County. Gainesville is the only Broward County comparable in all of North Florida, North and Central Florida and the Panhandle, only Alachua County. Micanopy is small. It's basically one street, but it's very cool. You imagine Park Avenue in Winter Park or St. Norman's Circle in Sarasota or Las Olas. And that's what Micanopy is in a more countrified fashion. So it's not that they're rejected in Micanopy, it's that there was an asshole of a city commissioner or whatever his title is.
Them out.
And I wish the girls would have fought over it because in that situation, they should have elicited support, in my opinion, to rail him out of town, not them, because the loss of the two girls is a loss for Micanopy. One other thing. I advocate for you to go and visit Micanopy. They have a
and send turds to this guy's office.
Right. Do that. A rock through his... No, don't do that.
Don't do a rock.
They have an 1840s antebellum inn there that is spectacular on the main street in Micanopy. It's highly worth visiting. And girls, I hope you continue to lead in Alachua.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, now let's square up South Florida and Florida. Pink penis statues may be coming to Fort Lauderdale, Wilton Manors, and others. Can you envision a 300-pound statue of a 6-foot-high pink penis on display in a public park at Fort Lauderdale's famed corner at Las Olas and A1A? Chad Stevens can. The rabble-rousing atheist from Boca Raton, a First Amendment activist with a long resume of poking fun at government officials who dare to ignore the separation of church and state is at it again. Stevens, the same man who made headlines a decade ago after winning permission to put up a beer can themed Festivus pole at the state capitol, is now seeking permission from Fort Lauderdale and 8 other cities to erect a 6-foot high custom-made penis statue at various local town squares. So far, Stevens says he's gotten a no from Deerfield Beach and possibly maybe from Fort Lauderdale. Stevens is still waiting to hear from 7 other cities, including Miami Beach, Wilton Manors, Hallandale Beach, Deerfield Beach, Margate, Boca Raton, Delray Beach, and Baltimore. Stevens hoped to display his phallic statue on April 2nd at Fort Lauderdale's Las Olas Ocean Park, where the city recently showcased a Christmas tree and menorah display. I'm like, I am.
I can't wait to. Go ahead.
No, I hope he gets permission, but I hope he's in good taste. It's just.
I doubt it's going to be in good taste,
Right.
Papi. It's a 6-foot tall penis.
Well, but
I mean, it's
penis is good taste.
A pink, huge one.
A penis is good taste. I don't know.
No. Well, yeah, definitely not for me. Definitely not for me.
You say a penis is good taste.
It's good taste.
It tastes. You know what got me
Well,
from
it
the
depends. Have you had garlic? Have you had
Oh God!
asparagus?
Okay. No, listen. Okay, so he got a no, right? But he got a maybe from Fort Lauderdale. So I can just imagine that phone call. Hey, Dean Trantellis, I want to put a big ass penis on this street and this street, and then Dean goes,
We're not.
maybe.
Actually, it's funny you say that and we don't tell this in the story because we're waiting and watching Fort Lauderdale. Dean's a no so far. Dean has come out. Dean Trantellis, the gay mayor of Fort Lauderdale, has said, basically, I'm paraphrasing. These are not Dean Trantellis's words, but really, basically, in a generally family-friendly community, it's not something that we want to do. Funny, maybe, but it's not what we want to do. So if there's a leading no against this, it's the gay mayor of Fort Lauderdale.
Right.
Okay.
I have a question about this guy. Is he gay?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
And, the other thing is, if they're done, then people will just say, gay people are all about sex because they'll assume the gay community did it. And I agree with Dean. I think it doesn't belong.
Has said
just
flat
doesn't
no.
belong.
No, the answer is no. And again, it's the family destinational banner that they're carrying on why they did the no. The interesting thing in this is, of course, this is red meat to the viewers of Queer News Tonight. I'm curious to see what Wilton Manors is going to say.
Yeah, that's me too. That would be my question.
And Wilton Manors has been suspiciously silent on this subject.
Scott hasn't said anything?
I not publicly. We can't find any record of him saying anything.
Okay.
I'm sure the crack investigative team at South Florida
Let me text him right
is
now.
at the bottom of this.
I wonder what DeSantis
hold on one
would
second.
do.
It's an we
remove the mayor from office.
It's an interesting story from the standpoint of he platforms this as a freedom of speech issue because what he is using is this 6-foot. I've seen the picture of the. Or maybe it is. I've actually seen the penis. Maybe, but he uses it as an argument to say, look. If we're going to embrace any kind of religious activity in a municipality, like a Christmas tree or a menorah,
A nativity
scene, then everything should be expressed. So what he's saying is we should either allow it or we shouldn't allow it. Now, whether you agree with that argument or not, that's what the pink penis represents. Wait, let me create an image that says this is free speech.
Yeah.
Wait, why is this different than the menorah or the Christmas tree? It's an interesting argument.
And for that reason, he might win.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember during Trump times that they had a half-naked Trump statue in Wynwood on top of one of the buildings, and it was an artist who put it there, and the freedom of speech allowed it to be there.
Actually,
All right.
And one of the things that we don't report on here is there is much conversation that this will end up in the courts, because he will want the court to say, well, wait, is freedom of speech for everyone or for only those that are Jewish or Christian or whatever.
There was a lot of conversation about Robert Mapplethorpe as well back in the day.
I can see you kneeling in front of that big penis, Dino.
Yeah, we all.
Ay, Dios mío, Mari Purísima.
It's gonna be Mecca for a while.
What if we put like a condom on it? Like, what if we develop like a
exactly
6-foot condom to put on it? Then we're not seeing
Well,
it.
protection is first, folks.
Exactly. I told you this is red meat for Queer News Tonight.
Yeah.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church right here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out Television Studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m. every week.
I'm Gabe Salazar, Artistic Director of the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, then share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including FayWhat, John Hayden, Cindy Brown, and Dino Mosquera, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you
Good night.
Good night, everyone.